Hey everyone, just wanted to do a quick check-in video to go over the autobiography assignment that's coming up. That's due on June 14th, and then a few reactions from the Module 2 discussion board. So first off, autobiography assignment. So remember there's two portions, two places in the syllabus where it mentions the autobiography. So before the tentative course schedule, so up above, it goes over some brief information, but then after the course schedule, next to the rubric, that's where the more in-depth information is. So make sure you really lean into that to understand the assignment. And I give page description or page length recommendations, as well as what to cover to clearly be able to meet all the requirements. So please review that and understand that. And you need your career assessments to do that paper. So make sure that you're getting those done. Those can be accessed either in module 1, 2, or 3. There's a link, same information to be able to access the Myers-Briggs type indicator and the strong interest inventory. So if you haven't done that yet, please make sure that you do that. And just reminders due June 14th. So coming right up. All right, that's the autobiography information. Just a few thoughts from the discussion board. I think a lot of these things were already mentioned, but I just kind of want to reaffirm a few things that stood out to me. I agreed, obviously, from some of my comments in the discussion board. I agree that the trait and factor theory, I think it has a good perspective and kind of a good framework. It's really simple and kind of intuitive, but it's not sufficient in my mind. I think it's a decent start. It might work for some people. It might be sufficient for some, just based on where they're at, maybe at one stage of their career development, but likely later on more is going to need to be brought into it. But I think that's what I've noticed, is that sometimes that's where the person is. They just need to get more self-insight and explore the careers around them. Later, they might need to then go in more into like cultural dynamics. They might need to go into their mental health, the more holistic, the financial, legal, like a lot of different things that are part of a career. But I really think it depends on what is self-exploration, what is self-awareness. Trade factor theory is just kind of saying this is general construct, but what does that actually look like? Like most everyone mentions some facet of self-exploration that's beyond just like values, interests, personality. Those are, I think, some foundational and really, really important, but some things that I wrote down, like I just mentioned, it's important to reflect and have self-awareness of your culture and the culture that's around you and the culture of the work, profession that you're entering as well, the subculture, your developmental process, and and the understanding that it's going to shift throughout time, trauma, grief, previous work experiences. Some of you mentioned like having like resume writing and cover letter skills. Like those are going to be important factors as well. That I guess you could term that as part of this self exploration process, really delving into that. But unless that's clearly laid out in a trade factor model, which I haven't really seen, to this more holistic view, then a lot of those factors might be missed. Uh, so yeah, a lot of you mentioned as well that not everyone's starting in the same place. Definitely true. From a cultural perspective, we're all just kind of thrown into the world in our unique circumstances, and it's not like we're all in a fair, equal starting point or playing field necessarily all the time. So I think that's an important consideration as well. That can be an important part of career decision making and recognizing where the client is at in their position in life. I did want to just mention though that from my experience working quite a bit in the career counseling space and career development space, trait and factor theory is, there's a lot of different theories that fit under the trait and factor model, like the theory of work adjustment theory. That's one that is a trait and factor theory. It's following the same kind of general concept of self-awareness, knowledge of occupations, then matching the two. The same with what we're going to be talking about in the future with Myers-Briggs type theory and John Holland's interest theory. A lot of these theories are okay. They're just starting to kind of fixate on what do we need to be emphasizing most in self-awareness. Myers-Briggs type indicator is personality. John Holland is interest categories. So yeah, they're really common. A lot, like the MBTI, strong interest inventory, are used really, really regularly, especially in like college career counseling centers. Uh, and for better or worse, I think sometimes it's a great, like I said, sometimes those assessments have been really, really helpful for students that I've worked with. You know, just taking the strong interest inventory, it kind of gives them a starting point, and then they're off and running, kind of doing their own process. But they needed almost just like a spark to get them going. But I've noticed consistently that eventually many people get to this place of needing this deeper work, this deeper career work, where it's not just like a superficial choice, kind of a quick choice. It's more this, what do I want out of my life? Where am I in my life? What are the barriers in my life around me, like in society, also internally? That's where the deeper work starts. Uh, I did want to specify, I think some in the discussion board, some seem to think that like career assessments like inventories are required, are like a requirement in train factor theory. Not necessarily. Early on, like really early on with like Frank Parsons in the early 1900s, there weren't career inventories or anything like that. It was all just like more of like a counseling interview style of just kind of talking with someone and exploring who they are. So just one point of clarification there, that you don't have to use inventories or assessments as part of train factor theory. I think it's really common that they're used, but it's not a requirement. And let's see. I just wanted to reaffirm as well. Some of you mentioned that, like, you know, developmentally, maybe at 20, you were in a very different place than you are now at 40. Definitely, definitely. And I does train factor theory account for that well? Maybe, maybe not. I guess you can all decide for yourselves, but like maybe it's just that, okay, this process of self-awareness, knowledge of careers and the environments around us, and then matching, maybe that just needs to happen multiple times throughout the lifespan. But I think you'll really start to see, especially when I believe it's in module 4 with Donald Super, that there is this lifespan and life space approach to career development. So you're going to learn more about that. And it's really consciously described and talked about, this lifespan approach. So anyways, just a few things to be aware of, that's coming up soon. So those are a few thoughts from the discussion board, as well as a few things coming up and some information on the autobiography assignment. Thanks, everyone. Reach out if you need anything. Happy to stay in touch.